so much. I love you so much. I love you so much. I love you so much.
Hello, all you positive heads out there. Thanks for tuning your beautiful brainwaves into another episode of the Positive Head Podcast, where we are firmly convinced that creating success and happiness is rooted in understanding the ultimate nature of reality and the fact that as human beings, we are all immensely powerful fractals of the one and only source consciousness, which creates and animates all things. Now, of course, understanding this powerful truth is one thing. Applying this incredibly empowering wisdom to everyday life? Well, that's another, which is exactly why we provide you with a fresh serving of soul food for thought 5 days a week to help constantly remind you of what matters most. You are it. And I'm your host, Brandon Beecham. I'm the reflection and extension of you who will be here each Wednesday interviewing a different consciousness changemaker. And on the other 4 weekdays, leading the way to ensure that your perspective is consistently expanded, your vibration is constantly elevated, and your heart is overflowing and full. Also, this episode of the Positive Head Podcast is being brought to you thanks to the support of Gaia. If you're not familiar, Gaia is the go-to source for streaming consciousness content online, and you can sign up for your first month for only 99 cents at gaia.com/positivehead. That's spelled GAIA.com/positivehead. Check it out. All right, all you positive heads, welcome to the show. So blessed and ecstatic to be here with you all yet again, here right after the holidays as I record. Although, I suppose it can be a holiday whenever you're listening, wherever you're listening. If it's August 3rd and you happen to be listening, make that day a holiday. Make that now a holiday. Someone out there is probably going to be listening on August 3rd, and they're going to be like, whoa, this one was meant for me, and it will be. I love that. I love creating those little magical moments randomly. All right, well, and by the way, if it's an August 3rd and you happen to just randomly choose this episode on that day and it had a lot of impact on you, drop me a line and let me know. I love to hear the feedback. Right now it's December 26th, so you know, I will have forgotten this by then, but you can remind me if we co-created some magic together on that day. Otherwise, let's see. What are we going to do today? We're going to talk about living in the now. How ironic as I talk about this future date. But, you know, that's what this show's about. It's about twisting our brains as much as we can. Before I jump into the topic for today, I would like to take a moment and read a review. This review came in by Joy in the Fifth Dimension. Get pH balanced. Feeling down? Struggling with worry or negative thought patterns? Finding something hard to forgive? All you need is a little pH balance. Brandon's Positive Head Podcast uplifts and shifts daily with transformative conscious content. This podcast has a wealth of catalyzing interviews and topics for every aspect of personal growth and spirituality. Episode number 502 on procrastination will really blow your mind. So what are you waiting for? Get pH balance today. All right, I love it. That's the first time someone's written a commercial for me. And it's very clever. I absolutely love it. I've never thought of the pH balance. That's beautiful. So cool. Thank you, Joy. You are a joy indeed. You brought joy to my day by taking the time to review on iTunes, which, of course, is the holy grail of all things podcasting. So if you haven't reviewed yet, please jump over to iTunes and do so. It helps us to reach new people, certainly helps to fuel my fire and bring me joy as Joy has done here today. And also, get on the Positive Heads Facebook group if you're not there. It's Positive Heads with an S, and it's a private group where you can open up, connect, share with other listeners. It's a wonderful, wonderful, ever-growing group of P-heads. And yeah, if you're not there, we're missing you there and looking forward to you joining. Of course, you guys all have the ability to invite friends as well. So it might be a good way to introduce people to the show who you think could benefit. Lastly, let's see here. I also love to get questions from you guys, which I'm going to take a question here in a moment, and you can write those in to Brandon@positivehead.com, through the positivehead.com website, on the Facebook group. You can send smoke signals. You can even send them to me telepathically, and we'll see if I get them. That might be future episodes. Speaking of living in the now, maybe in the future that will come as a now, I will be able to read your telepathic questions. I'll be practicing on my end. You guys practice on your end. We've got to have things to grow into, right? So let's see here. Today, this question came in. This question came in by someone who didn't actually sign it with their name, which is fine. And I will answer it nonetheless to the anonymous writer-innerer. And the question is, hi, Brandon. First, I want to thank you for the Positive Head. It truly is a gift to my life and the world. I have most definitely become a better me without a doubt. I started listening in 2016. Okay, so here's my question/thoughts. I loved Colby's readings and decided if I were ever going to give it a shot, it would be with her. After my conversation with her, I was in shock and felt some sort of peace, but also disappointment because I felt like the next paths my higher self wanted me to take were boring or not as much as I want to do with my life. Also, real quick side notes here. I'll pause reading this. For those of you who don't know, Colby Rebel comes on the show once a month if you've never caught an episode. She's an intuitive medium and does mini readings for listeners. And so, yeah, this person, it sounds like, went and got a private reading from Colby, which she gives discounts to Positive Head listeners. So if you're ever interested, check out colbyrebel.com. She's amazing. Or check out just some of the past shows where she's been on and does readings for people. Okay, continuing. So as the stubborn person I am, I continued thinking that and really tried to change the path. Example of one of the things she said. I was very attached to a guy in another country that I spent a lot of time with, but I had to come back home for many reasons, and we continued reaching back to each other every couple of weeks. I knew he wasn't ready for me and wasn't emotionally fully open for the relationship and life I want, but the feeling and stubbornness persisted to the point he reached out to me after weeks of not speaking to me in Europe and to give the relationship a try. By the way, Colby said I'd get my answer about the relationship in December, and oh boy, did I get it. So of course I said yes, believing I was fully following my heart, and left my life in New York to go meet up with who I thought was my potential soulmate. I get there and realize we are in completely different places mentally, and he had other priorities while being there, like starting his career, and I was nowhere near the top of that priority list. So now I am back to square one, feeling more lost than ever. I know we say we are our own creators of our reality, or are we really? Are our paths really that defined? I am just so lost, disappointed, and for the first time, seriously depressed. I do feel like life beat me up literally to put me back on my path, but this path isn't what I saw for myself. Anyway, I did a lot of rambling. If there's anyone in the world who I believed has the gift of looking at the big picture of things, it's you. I'd love to hear your insight on what I now consider a dilemma and someday hope to look back at as a gift. Thank you so much, Brandon. If you get to this question, much love and happy holidays. Okay, so this particular question, very, very good one that I think everyone can relate to, is dealing with these expectations and sort of trying to project onto someone else to fill this role that we envision, that we imagine, that we decide that we want. And, meanwhile, they have their own life, their own path, their own agenda. And let me address the main crux of this question is, I know we say we're our own creators of reality, but are we really? Are our paths really that defined? And you guys hear me talk about this all the time. And some of you will say, yeah, I know what's coming. It's my belief on how reality works. Your life plays out at the corner of free will and destiny. So time is an illusion. It's all already happened. Your 5th birthday party is happening on another channel right now. You're just not tuned into it. Then, so that's where destiny comes in. Someone who's intuitive, and we all are, by the way. Some people are just, better at it, I guess you would say, more naturals. That's sort of their path, is to make a primary part of their path, like Colby, right? So highly gifted in this way, and has worked out that muscle as well, her psychic muscle. So So in this case, what she glimpsing is potential realities. There's potential yous in the eternal now, right, that play out. But the free will piece comes in because there's infinite versions of you. There's all kinds of paths and different ways that you can go. So anytime a psychic or intuitive gives you something as a prediction, let's say, just know that it's a potentiality, not a definitive. There is no definitive anything because you always have free will to choose a new path, and there's infinite paths. So it's quite the interesting thing to consider when you understand, like, okay, it's all already happened. Yeah, it's destined for that reason, but there's infinite free will tied into the infinite path. Source is infinite. It plays out every possibility that you can think of, and then some that you can't. Many that you cannot. So that's the next part of how I want to address this is understanding this path isn't, she said, this path isn't what I saw for myself, right? Well, here's the thing. If you can let go of these rigid ideas of what your path should look like and should be and how it should unfold, it will come so much sweeter when you can just move into the now, the only place that you ever have any power, and just accept what is. You don't need this person to show up in any way to fulfill you. And if you're reaching that hard to find fulfillment with someone else, that's something that you probably need to really work on and look at yourself and examine. What is it that I'm running from? Why? Because if you understand the truth, and that is that all that you seek is within you, including the love and connection and all those things you would project onto another person, it's great to have that in a relationship with another that you share. Certainly. We all have a part of ourselves that I believe longs for that. But what I'm suggesting is to really look at that and understand it. Ultimately, if we're fractals of the source consciousness, the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things, right? The one, what does that mean? At the end of the day, the one is one, and there are no others. So it must learn self-love, and you being a fractal of that source must learn self-love. Finding it outside of yourself, think of how much more powerful that relationship would be if you were really content within yourself and really tapping into self-love through whatever practices, self-care, meditation, yoga, whatever it is that is your path to constantly tap into your own inner fountain of abundance and love, unconditional. I mean, I've sat there before and been able to drum up emotions of love that just cause me to cry, that bring so much power to them, and I'm alone. There's no one else there I'm sharing it with. I'm tapping into this love all by myself, and that's powerful. Now imagine being able to do that and being fully content within yourself, then finding this other partner, and they're going to be a reflection of you in some way, right? Because you're always attracting reflections. Now imagine two people coming in together because they're two parts that are fully, it's not your better half or someone to complete you. You're complete. You're coming together for the sheer joy of sharing that completeness with someone else who's complete, right? And so imagine that sort of a relationship instead of this, I have this idea for myself and I'm going to chase it and I'm going to project it onto this other person. And if it doesn't show up, I'm really depressed because I'm projecting into the future of what what I want or need or desire. And I would say move into the now fully and understand that in this moment, you're right where you need to be. And all the things that happened, all the things that, Sonia on the World Tapping Circle posted a meme just the other day that I absolutely love. She says, your triggers are your treasures, right? How powerful is that? You're triggered here. You're feeling depressed. You're hurting because of this thing. You've been triggered. You didn't get what you want. Your expectations weren't met. But your triggers are your treasures. It is bubbling up so that you can focus and work on yourself, within yourself. Then once you've really gotten that down, then this knight in shining armor reflection of you may show up, or maybe not. You can set that intention and then release that intention, right? It's okay. It's finding that the dance is setting the expectation, what you want to create, but then and then letting it go. That's really the key, because you don't need it. You don't need any of it to show up and to be content. The funniest thing ever is when you realize the path to getting everything that you want is by no longer needing it, right? The irony irony of that. It's such a beautiful realization. And so moving into the now, I even had a conversation with my friends Ronit and Everett a couple nights ago, and I thought about it. Who, when I was talking to them, I was like, "Oh, I need to address this on the show." And then I had this question queued up, and it's a perfect segue. I mean, they're tied in, and what we were talking about was living in the now. How much power there is here and now when you can realize this moment right now is exactly where you need to be, exactly where you wanted to be. It's exactly what you need next. This is where all the power lies. This is where all the potential is. Imagine if you can just own for a moment that this is everything you could ever dream of and more. If you choose to focus in that way, you don't need anywhere else to go. You don't need to get anywhere. You can put down the fight to create something new. As someone who's constantly been a doer, and what do I do next? Where do I go next? How do I, what's the next move? Just stop. Just stop all that. Breathe into the moment. Eckhart Tolle said, nothing ever happened in the past. It happened in the now. Nothing will ever happen in the future. It will happen in the now. That's where your power is. Right now, you are perfectly arrived right in this moment. You've got nowhere that you need to get. Isn't that such a relief that you can just stop? You've done it. You've arrived. You're here right now. Dan Custer said, every morning is a fresh beginning. Every day is the world made new. Today is a new day. Today is my world made it new. I have lived all my life up to this moment to come to this day. This moment, this day is as good as any moment in all eternity. I shall make of this day, each moment of this day, a heaven on earth. This is my day of opportunity. Isn't that beautiful? Today is the day, guys. You've done it. You're here. Everything you've been working for, you've arrived. Congratulations. Henry David Thoreau said, you must live in the present. Launch yourself on every wave. Find your eternity in each moment. Fools stand on their island opportunities and look toward another land. There is no other land. There is no other life but this. Such beauty, such power. I love Henry David Thoreau. It's so amazing when you realize, guys, there's nowhere else to get. There's nothing you have to do. You can put the struggle down. You can put the fight down. Your job shifts from what do I do next? Where do I go? How do I find this person to complete me? Where's the next job? What's the next thing? What do I strive for? What do I reach for? To feel better, to feel better, to feel better. Stop. Move into the moment. Deep breath. Nowhere to go. Nothing you have to do except for look around. Imagine if you had infinite abundance and infinite time and you were eternal, right? And if you lived like that and stopped looking at everyone else chasing their tails, right? Because there's mass dysfunction and misunderstanding of the situation in which people find themselves. There's mass misunderstanding, so it's mass delusion, right? So we just fall right into that, and that's quote unquote normal. What we're saying here is that is not normal. You're an infinite being that's living in the now. And limited abundance will unveil itself to you if you just relax. And your job becomes, instead of reaching for something else, it becomes to become more like a child. Children have neither a past nor a future. Thus, they enjoy the present, which seldom happens to us, right? And so what your job is to enjoy the present. This is where it's at. This is where the power's at. This is where become childlike. They're not thinking of how they're going to pay for whatever next or what they're going to create to validate themselves or to feel better or to fulfill themselves in some other person. They're just living fully in the present as if they're infinitely abundant creators that will never die. That's what you are. That's what we're getting back to. Hope this helps the questioner here. Hope it helps you guys to move fully into the moment, this day, this eternal, timeless moment. And I know it has me. And it's been quite the pleasure, quite the honor, as always, to connect and share. I do have a song to leave you guys with. This one is I played Spoken Bird the other day, and I thought I would play another Spoken Bird song. This one's called Beginnings, appropriately entitled for a brand new beginning, a brand new day, a brand new moment to stop the never-ending chasing of your tail and to just relax and to let things flow to you because you're you've got that smirk on your face of knowing everything that I need will flow to me if I relax about it. If I can not need it, then I can have it, right? And you don't need it because you have infinite everything within you. And maybe get on with exploring more of that. Love you all. Until next time, journey well. Also, if you're craving more consciousness elevating content, be sure to check out Gaia, which is my personal go-to source for streaming consciousness content on the web, where you can stream an incredible 7,000 plus exclusive videos covering 5,000 years of wisdom. As you all hear me constantly say, it's a daily conscious effort to maintain an elevated vibration. And if you're looking to journey deep down the rabbit hole to do so, then Gaia is the best place I know of to do it, period. And you can sign up for your first month for only 99 cents at gaia.com/positivehead. That's spelled GAIA.com/positivehead. Check it out.